Hello, this is Gene. I know it's been a while since I talked to you guys. I've been doing a lot of things, getting ready to move up to Alabama. My wife hurt herself about 3 weeks ago. She was helping in the yard upstairs, or up there, her dad's house, and she fell into a sewer area and just dislocated her ankle. So it was like this. I mean, it was messed up. And she was supposed to start work. She had been working, but the actual first day of school was supposed to be starting that Monday. And she's not there, of course. She's recuperating up there. I had to come back down here to start, moving everything before I move up there in a couple months. Didn't feel great about leaving her, but at the same time, things had to get done here. And she's been kind of having some issues, she's depressed because she misses teaching. She was a counselor down here, and she has an opportunity up there to work with special needs. And since we have a son that's special needs, it's something that's always been very near and dear for her. And I feel it for her, I do. But she's one of those type of people that she can't really look in the future. She's thinking of the present, and then she's thinking about, why did I leave? I should have stayed in Florida and all that stuff. And she didn't realize why she decided that she wanted to go to Alabama in the first place, to be by her dad and her family. So there have been a lot of things that's happened in the news, obviously, that I would like to comment on. And there are a couple things I want to talk about here. I had a conversation with my son yesterday because what I have to say could be seen as, I guess, white nationalism in some ways. Although I wouldn't really consider myself that. I'm a nationalist, and I happen to be white. I talk about stuff in the alt-right. I talk about the movement, white identity. But we see in the news now, in the politicians, that they're trying to label us all as basically domestic terrorism. And this is where it's going. And I just talked to him about it, and I said, I thought this would actually come at some point. But it's like everything's just going faster and faster. It's almost like everything's coming down the hill, but it's not like a hill like this. It's like this. And it just continually compounds on itself, and it gets worse and worse. So it wouldn't shock me in 6 months or 12 months that I'll be on a list somewhere, even though I don't have anybody that really watches me. And I'll be labeled something. I won't be able probably to get a gun, even if I'm in Alabama. And that sounds paranoid, but I don't think it is at this point. Anybody that has these type of ideas, this ideology that people on the founders of the West should be should be preserved, is going to be looked at this way. And I never would have thought this 6 months ago, but here we are right now, and it's going to continually go on. A video I did about 6 months ago, I talk about what Congress did and try to tell us what was anti-Semitic. So basically, anything you say about Israel having influence in this country is anti-Semitic. If you say that they have dual loyalties to Israel and America, then it's anti-Semitic. And our little small Jewish friend, Ben Shapiro, basically said that the other day on Twitter. And he said that no, he didn't say most, he said all American Jews are loyal to America. They're not loyal to Israel. I find that very, very hard to believe. My son, who has dated several Jewish women, one that actually went to synagogue, knows this is not the case. They talk about Israel all the fucking time. All the money that they get, that they recoup at the synagogue, goes to Israel. So this idea that they're not somewhat influenced or loyal to Israel is absolutely stupid. They look at that as their fatherland. And I have no issue with that. I just don't want the fact that they have way too much influence in our country right now. And me saying that would have been normal speak 6 months ago, a year ago, is now considered anti-Semitic. And because I'm white and I talk about white issues, I am going to be on a list somewhere, maybe. But clearly the people that talk like me, that have a higher following, like Laura Towler or Mark Collette or Jarrett Taylor, who won't really care, he lives in Japan, but people like that are obviously going to be on a list. And And I'll be somewhere on that because they'll find out that I had these conversations with these people. I've talked to Laura many times. I've talked to Mark Collette once or twice. I'm not in the movement per se, but I talk about the issues that affect the founders of the West. And these are things I just want to just allow us to be at the table to talk about it and not be called racist and whatever, because we're talking about how it impacts people like us, because it's allowed for everybody else, and all we really want is to be at this table to talk about it. So all this stuff's going on, and Trump is continually going on and just basically being the king or the president for Israel right now, and it's just really pissing me off. And I can't say that I would have not voted for him if I knew all the ties that he had to Israel before. Well, there's nobody in 2016 that I could have actually voted for. I mean, it becomes of that, and it's in 2000 or 2020. There's probably not going to be a person that I can vote for above him. There may be one person that are on the Democratic side that I like, but she's still anti. She wants all these illegal immigrants to come in this country, and that's Tulsi Gabbard. But maybe I just like her because she's kind of nice looking. Maybe, I don't know. But what Trump is doing right now, and he's basically saying that if you're not loyal, if people who are like the 80% of Jews that vote for Democrats, those are not loyal people. And of course, the media is saying that what he really means, he's anti-Semitic because they have two new loyalties, that they're loyal to Israel, but they're not loyal to the United States. And that's not what Trump is talking about at all. He's talking about, hey, I'm doing all this for you, and you're still not voting for me. And it's strange he hasn't said about the black community yet. I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, he's done a lot of things for the black community, and nobody's doing. I mean, it's like he needs that. The thing about Trump, and I think he was the right person, but he's got such thin skin. And you understand that when you're somebody like that. I am the same way. And over years, I had to make my skin a lot thicker. I had to because. Fortunately for me, I don't have enough people following me on Twitter or anything like that I don't get so triggered when somebody says something back to me or says something to me, because yes, I feel that I have to respond to it. And can you imagine? I mean, somebody like me with 1,000 or 1 million followers, what their timeline would look like, or on YouTube. I mean, I think the most comments I've ever had was basically the video I did on bladder cancer, which was non-descriptive, and the stuff I said something about one of the pundits or one of the fan channels about Manchester United, and I had that doesn't really affect me. But when we're talking about white identity or the founders of the West, yes, I get. It's like something in my soul is being affected when somebody just basically says I'm a racist, because I advocate for people like me, and I advocate for my sons, my kids, and the future that they're going to have, and I'm being continually pushed down, and I am the bottom of the barrel when it comes to people who talk about this. I can't imagine people that are having to deal with that. So when I was talking to Laura the other day about it, I said I wish I was 20 or 30 years younger, so I could be part of the fight. But at the same time, would I have done anything? I mean, right now, if I was in my 25 or 30, would I do anything at this point, or would I just what I did when I was 25 and 30, I was looking for girls, and I was drinking all the time, and I was buying shit, which I clearly still do this. Probably not. I was, what was I? I was basically, what's the word? Programmed, right? You know, this is what it was. So when my son tells me how bad capitalism is, even though he's red-pilled, a lot of what he's saying is true, because it's basically taken away from what men should be doing. And the one or two people that might see this, who might get offended by it, when men are not leading and not leading correctly, it damages everything. And it's not saying that women can't be leaders, but they're not. Not when we're talking about general for country type. You can't do it. There really hasn't been any really powerful, successful female leader in the West. Either Thatcher might have been okay, but what's happening in the Nordic countries is, they're destroying everybody. So Excuse me for that. So I think I have to talk about stuff like this, and then I worry about if I get labeled like that. My wife's working in the public service, working in the school system, that someone's going to find my video and some of the things I say about Israel, about Jews, and about my belief of that the Holocaust wasn't what exactly the story that we've been told. That will be looked at as anti-Semitic, and that means that I'm a bad person, and my wife, by extension, is also a bad person. So every time I get on videos now, I'm worried about that because she will never forgive me if something like that happens. Even that she knows what I feel, and over the years, at the very top of that rabbit hole, the pay gap and stuff, she fighted me on this, and now she realized after several conversations and stuff, she realized that I was right. And she's also starting to fill out understanding what's going on now in the black community and stuff like that. And she's starting to she's up here at the top of that rabbit hole. But she's got so much in her mind, she's got some more important things. And I think that's true for a woman. They should be empathetic of what they're doing. If she's in a job that she's going to help kids, that should be her focus. Obviously when she's at home, she's supposed to focus on being at home. But when she's there, that's what she's supposed to do. And she shouldn't really be dealing with that. This is a man thing. It really is. Even those Laura Tower and other great people that are women that are in the movement, they would say the same thing. The men have to lead here. If we don't, the West is gone. So all I can do is I mentor my son, and I hope that he does this. He talks to his friends, his acquaintances. And I was DMing Laura Tower about this, and I told her that I see a turn in the country. Even though I'm black-pilled in a lot of ways, they're awake. They understand what's going on. They're not exactly sure who's behind it, but they're asking the questions, and that helps everything. Because once you go down the rabbit hole and you go past the top, the distracted shit that's about the pay gap, feminism, and all that shit, and you start going down and you realize an agenda there. And then I'm not saying that means at the end of the day that we need to round up all the people that are doing this and say that's all your fault, regardless of, because you're a Jew, that you have to kill all Jewish people. That's not what we're talking about here. But we have to recognize what's going on. Maybe there's something that's innate about them because they realize that they've been kicked out of so many countries in the past that they have to make sure that they're going to be taken care of. And, they can spout how much more smarter than they are than us, and some of them are. And they have a lot of power, and they do, but we have to realize what's going on here. There were individual people that happened to be from that tribe that had basically just destroyed the family unit, and from there, all this other shit has gone downhill, and the last 10 or 5 years, it's just got so much worse and worse and worse. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months. I mean, I would never thought that we would get to the point where the President of the United States is basically saying if you don't support him, if you're a Jew, that it's anti-Semitic, and the Congress would never have came out with this thing that's saying that anything you say about how much Israel influences this country becomes anti-Semitic. And I never would have thought that the governor of Florida would have went to Israel and signed something to saying that if you say stuff like this, or you support Palestine in any way, and you're a student in Florida State public schools, you'll be suspended and be expelled. I would never thought what he got here. It's like, who really runs this country? And the kids are understanding this. And again, the movement, or wherever this is about white identity, if there is anything like this, it's not right or left. Okay, this is not what you believe politically. It has nothing to do with the movement at all. Although most people who are in it are probably more right. But a lot of people who might be considering themselves like National Socialists are clearly left. So it's not really about that. It's about preserving our future, to remember the past, which is what we're mandated to do. And as the men, we have to make sure that we teach our children this, and the men have to teach the sons to lead. And we've lost that whole thing. And this is I told my son, this is my last great task in my life. My kids are over 20. I mean, they still have issues, but this is really the great thing in my life left. I mean, of course, I'm going to support my wife and all that stuff like that, but from a bigger picture, that I have to bring this out. And I know probably after I'm dead, somebody might find my videos and say there was a guy that actually was on point and he knew what was coming. And I told my wife, she sent me something the other day about white men. Now she's in Alabama now. She's recuperating, like I said, and I'm doing stuff here to get for the move. And she started talking about this because, they found, I guess, someone close to me, the guy was going to out and kill some people. And I said, you do understand that statistically, I mean, mass shooting, which means that you killed or you shot 4 or more people, it's not a white, white men don't do it the most. It's black men. Now, they may do it for different reasons, and they're both horrible. But these are things how white men apparently deal with their issues. And obviously, gang violence is also a different type of thing too. So, and she talks about mental issues, and that's an issue as well. And what I don't really understand in this country, we know that so many men are killing themselves either through overdose, which they don't want to, or they do it intentionally. But nobody is marching in Washington, D.C., which they should be doing. If this was so bad, if women were doing this, the women would be walking down the streets in Washington, D.C., a million of them, and something would happen. Men don't do this. So we can blame everybody else. We can blame the Jews. We can blame everybody else, but it comes down on us because we have to change it. If we don't, whatever happens is going to happen. If we're just going to just give our country away and give the West away to either Islam or the Jews, who are basically be running everything, then that's fine. If that's what we want, obviously there'll be American 100 years from now, but it won't be the American that was foretold by our founders. And we can get all upset when they call our founders white nationalists or racist. That's all distractions. The distraction is right now is to talk to your kids, to all your sons. Find the right woman to marry and breed with, have a family, and continually mentor other men to get back to where we were before. That doesn't mean about not empowering women. The biggest thing that the most empowering thing in the world is that you raise your kids and you have a good, stable relationship with your husband. That's the most empowering thing that you could possibly have. Every statistic says this. Women are so depressed right now. They're on so much drugs right now because they've been taught that this is what empower means, something totally different. It means that you go out to the workforce and be like men. And they're so depressed by it because they're supposed to be mothers and be empathetic to other mothers, other kids, and they're lost in a different way. Men, when they're lost, when they're no value, they end up killing themselves. Women do it, but not the same level as men. And nobody wants to talk about this. It's like because the society basically says it's all the men's issues, and we're the fault. And too many men, especially in the men's right areas, they talk about this, and they have this fight with feminists. And yes, it's all important to have that fight, I guess, but there's something more here. And we just got to push families, having kids, and when the media wants to say that it's so great not to be single and not have kids till you're 40, we got to push back on that and say no, it's not. And there are so many areas that we have to go, and you can get upset and realize who's all behind it. And I've said it many times on this channel who is, but who are they serving? I don't, when we go down that rabbit hole, I'm just wondering who the Jewish people, the elites that are Jewish that are doing. Are they actually serving Lucifer? And if that's the case, then you basically owe it to your everything else, right? You have to save everybody because we have to stop it, right? All right, I'm going to stop right now. Let me know what you think about what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to keep talking more about stuff like this, but I'm not going to stop what I'm going to say. Okay, I'm not going to censor it myself, but I'm going to just make sure that what I have to say doesn't. Obviously I say things already, and my stuff's out there. It's not like it's going to really do anything. But just let me know, and we'll talk about it in the comments. You guys have a good weekend. I know that college football is back close to me. We're going to have Miami against Florida. Normally, I want Miami to beat Florida, but what I really want is they both to kill each other. So when we play them later, Florida State, that my team, that they will have good players. So, but it's nice that it's back, and also soccer's back as well. And maybe I'll do a video on that later on about how Manchester United is doing. You know, something on a lighter area. I've run to issues now when we talk about sports. People like that. Oh, that's just a distraction as well. It is. It clearly is. But men need to be competitive, and the problem is in the society we don't really have it. So we have this tribal thing where we follow a team, and because we're not on the team, but it becomes we more competitive, and we can be in a bar somewhere and we're like going against each other. We're not really killing each other, but it's something that's innate as well. Again, let me know what you say in the comments below, and thank you very much for watching. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.